Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wadcast Podcast. I'm your host, Eddie Ift. It's a weird, weird world we live in. That's how I'm going to start this episode. That's right. We're living in strange times, unprecedented times. The president said today that they were talking about how quickly alcohol and bleach kills the COVID virus. And he said, can we inject that into our lungs? Yep. The president said that. I don't make this shit up, people. Somebody's going to say I took that out of context. I did not. I did not take that out of context. I don't care if you're a Trump supporter. That's funny shit. That's funny shit. Psychotic, but funny. Okay, here's the deal. This show, if you're listening for the first time, it's a podcast about health, fitness, strength, conditioning, wellness. I'm a comedian, Eddie Ift, live comedian. That's what I do. I perform wherever I go. I do stand-up comedy. Right now, can't perform. They say we won't be performing till 2021. I don't know. I did a podcast tonight with the Comedy Cellar in New York City and a bunch of comedians on there, and it's pretty scary times, people. So go to the Patreon. That's how you can help out the show. Nobody did. I don't expect it to, though. Like 22 million Americans or whatever are out of just signed up for unemployment. So if you are fortunate enough and you love the show and you can't get by without it, jump into Patreon. Give a little donation. It always helps, and we take care of you with Maya Pucks and leopard claws. I've been using the leopard claw all week on my elbow, fixing it up. The guys from Move You told me what to do. Fix up my elbow. I got bum elbows. You ever hear people that are like, I got bum knees or I got a bad hip? You never hear anybody going like, I got bad elbows. I got bad elbows. Well, that's me. I got bad elbows. And they suck. I don't know why. I think it was, look, it could be improper range of motion in my shoulders, but the bottom line was that it came from doing kipping pull-ups. Butterfly, not even kipping. So they suck. My elbows suck. Look, this show's not supposed to be about me. It's supposed to be about my guest. Great guest this week. We have so many good guests coming up. But Tyler Quin from Alchemy 365 is our guest today. I talk about Alchemy 365 a lot because it's a really good wellness, strength, conditioning, health, fitness. Everything I like to talk about, they do. It's kind of like, if I want to summate it, is that a word? Summate? It's CrossFit with yoga. Sound weird? Sound interesting? Well, check them out. Alchemy 365. I've met a couple of the owners now. They're really, really wonderful guys, and I hope you enjoy this episode. But there's so much going on that I got to talk to you about. Number one, my buddy, Hunter McIntyre. I talk about him too much. He's probably only friends with me so that I can promote him. He calls me every day to talk to me about what's going on with his fitness career. Anyway, the newest thing he's up to, I don't know if you guys know, he's trying to break the Murph record. I thought I could beat him. It's not going to happen. I thought I could beat him without a vest and partitioning. He was going to go 100, 200, 300. I was going to go 5, 10, 15. There's no way I'm going to beat this guy. No way. He does his miles with the vest on in like 5 something. He's already got it down. I don't even want to tell you how fast he's doing it. But I do want to say this. Look, these are challenging money times, but if somebody has money out there, I think it's a good cause. I think we should get a chunk of money up there for anyone who thinks they can beat Hunter or break the world record. If any sponsor wants to go for it, throw the money in. And I think the money should go to charity. Whoever wins donates all the money to charity. So, Hunter, sorry, you're not getting the money. Hunter, I think, already spent $1,000. He went to the Guinness Book of World Records and saw if he could, register this and go and try to beat it. And they were like, no, it's too niche. It's like, really? Like, there's people in there that like shoot ping pong balls out of their assholes. And that's not niche. I mean, everybody does that, but there's no ping pong balls out of the asshole games in Madison, Wisconsin. Speaking of which, so do me a favor. Go to, I don't know how you do it, but go to the Guinness Book of World Records and call them all out. Just go, oh, you don't recognize CrossFit? Like, it's performed all over the world by millions of people. And you're not going to let this Murph thing is huge, and you're not going to let it be a record. Well, I think it should be a record. And even if it's not, I think Hunter has a good chance of breaking it. And anybody out there, anybody who thinks they can beat him, I don't know what kind of athlete it would take. Obviously, somebody a little more on the calisthenic side. I think Matt Frazier would give him a run for his money. Just have to say that. I think he would. If he's not going to keep up with him in the run, no, Matt couldn't. It's got to be somebody who can run as fast as Hunter. Kenny Kane in his day. I don't know. I'm on my bus right now recording this, and I just saw a Black Widow spider, so I'm freaking the fuck out. Anyway, if you think there's somebody out there who can beat him, or you've seen an incredible Murph time, I saw a dude really fly doing it, some Delta Force guy. Let us know, because Hunter wants anyone to challenge him. Let me know. You know how to get a hold of me, wadcastpodcast@yahoo.com. I would love it if you guys would be more interactive with me. You talk to me a little bit on Instagram, a lot on Facebook, and nothing on Twitter, nothing on... I guess you guys talk to me. You found me on my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook. So I see... I forget. I just think of you... I confuse the two kinds, because it used to be so distinct to my... two different groups were the people that followed me stand-up-wise and the people that followed me on Wadcast. But I guess I should probably put it all in one place. Whatever. So the CrossFit Games are going to Aromas this year. They say they're going to have them. A lot of people are saying it's a bad idea. A lot of people are saying it's not very safe. And I'm not one of those people. I don't know how I feel anymore. Again, it's like hard to have an opinion. Coming from the most opinionated fucker in the world. Here's the deal. I talk about it in the show, I like the old-time games. I like it with less people. I like it when it's not a corporate event. I like it when there aren't sponsors. I like it when it's like a barbecue and everybody knows each other. That's my kind of shit. I don't like big NFL football games. I don't like millions of people and fucking fireworks. And, if there's fireworks, I want it coming out of the back of some redneck's truck. I don't need it coming out of a barge in the middle of a river. Well, Heinz Ketchup's paying for it or whatever. I don't need it that big. I love the idea of it at the ranch. I love them running through that crazy field and all that shit. And it's awesome. But again, you want to help out the show? Patreon. It's patreon.com/wadcast or wadcastpodcast.com/Patreon. You can go in there, give a donation. Again, we will help you out if you help us out. We've got a great sponsor in Myopucks and Leopard Claw, and they take care of you guys, so take care of us. What else is going on? Hey, I get a lot of requests for Bobby and Hunter on the show, and together. They like us all together. And I talked to those guys about doing a new podcast called 30, 40, 50. Hunter's in his 30s. I'm in my 40s. Bobby in his 50s. Like a man show, talking about man shit, like what goes on. Just funny. We're very like-minded. We're all mentally challenged in some way, shape, or form. And we all weirdly care about health and think, well, I think I'm a great athlete. Hunter is a great athlete, and Bobby is a freak. And so I'm not going to start a whole new podcast, but every once in a while, like Rogan does he does like his MMA ones where they like watch an MMA fight and talk about it. Every once in a while, I'm going to do a 30, 40, 50. So we're going to just call it, I'll just go, hey, it's a 30, 40, 50 episode. I got Hunter and Bobby together, and we shut the shit. So, if you like that idea, let me know. I want to do one of those soon. And what else? I had something else to tell you. Again, let me know. And do me a favor, seriously. So many of you have listened to this show for so long. And if you have never done it, please go do it. Go to iTunes. Give us a rating. Give us a 5-star rating, please. It's me, mostly. And Machete. Rate it. review it. Give it a little review. Just go like, yeah, this show's awesome. Oh, do a nice one. Don't be a dick. And please don't. I'm asking you nicely. And that's how I talk to my daughter. Please, Izzy, please. Just, I'm asking you nicely. Please go to bed. And then the other one is you can rate, review. You can comment too. You know, I guess the review and comments are the same thing. But it helps. It's good feedback, and people read those, and it helps with the algorithm. So it gets other people to see it because it ranks higher then, and people go, oh, I gotta listen to this show. It looks like it's a good show. I'm not gonna say which show, not gonna say which one, but another CrossFit podcast. I was just reading their reviews because I was like, oh, they probably have 1 billion listeners and they're probably crushing it and blah, blah. I read the reviews and every single one was horrendous. And I thought it was kind of funny. I'm not going to lie. It was kind of schadenfreude. I was like, our show, really good reviews. You guys have been awesome to us. Maybe it's because I begged for them, but please give us a nice one. Because I try to bring you really good content. I try to bring you really good sponsors, too. Sponsors that provide really, really good products for you. And this one, today's episode is brought to you by a couple. One, BioOptimizers, is, we've always known, like throughout time, we've known it's a good idea to protect ourselves from germs and bacteria. But now, like with everything that's going on, with COVID and viruses and everything, it's becoming increasingly more important. And I'm losing my mind. I even put on hand sanitizer just to read this. Okay, so this is why I'm so excited about P3OM. Okay, you're wondering what's P3OM? It's a patented probiotic that might be the most effective probiotic ever developed. P3OM fights bacteria and strengthens immunity. It's basically a germ-fighting superhero, okay? But it also helps your digestion. It's going to speed up your metabolism. It increases energy throughout the day. That's way more than I thought probiotics could do. And so just when I thought P3OM couldn't get any more powerful, I watched this video, which you can all see at p3om.com/WOD. p3om.com/WOD. This video, they had a probiotic literally breaking down a piece of steak, okay? Just a hunk of meat. And after I saw it, I was like, okay, I'm all in. You're going to be amazed too. Check it out. I swear to you. Here's some more awesome news. You want to get 10% off P3OM right now by going to p3om.com/WOD and typing in the coupon code WOD10. That's p3om.com/WOD. Type in the coupon code WOD10 and you're going to get 10% off. Okay? And if you order it, and it's not everything you hope for, their support team will give you all your money back. No questions asked. Just visit P3, the letter O, the letter M.com/ that's a /WOD to get a 10% discount. Okay? Does that sound good? 10% discount with the code WOD10. WOD. WOD 10. I want to get the show started, but I am so thankful to this. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to get the show started. No, I'm not. I'm going to talk to you about O2. O2, which is our favorite non-carbonated recovery drink. It's so funny. My daughter's just learning how to read, and she says to me, she learned what recovery was, and now she's like, Dad, I want recovery drink. Dad, we'll go for a workout or a run or something. She's 5. We go for 6-mile runs. She'll come home. She'll be like, Dad, I'm salty. I need recovery drink. She understands the sodium, the potassium, that you need that. And there's nothing better. Nothing better than O2. It tastes delicious. The contents, basically, the level of sodium and potassium is like what you would get in an IV bag. So when you're dehydrated, that's what they give you. You're basically just giving it to yourself, and you're taking care of yourself. You're getting all your electrolytes. And more than that, what they're doing right now, which is incredible. These guys are CrossFitters, doctors, CrossFitters. They know their nutrition, they know their health, and they know what you guys need. and they care, and they know how tough the affiliates have it right now. So for a limited time, they're offering 50% off 2 to 4 week supplies of O2. That's 50% off. 1 to 4 cases and free shipping at drinko2.com. This is capped at 4 cases while the demand for water is high and supplies low. And they're contributing 50% of the profits from this sale to support affiliates. Okay? So you're going to stock your refrigerator. You're going to be recovering every day. Every day you're going to drink this stuff and just feel so good. And at the same time, you're helping out. It's like you're donating to the CrossFit affiliates around there. Okay? So how good's that? So head to drinko2.com. Prices are already marked down. Just type your affiliate name in the order notes, okay? And that's who they take care of. So drinko2.com. Go there, do this, and the affiliates will thank you. Your affiliate will thank you. I thank you, and you're going to thank me because it's delicious and takes care of you. All right, should we get the episode started? You guys ready? Are you ready? Drum roll, please, into, I think Machete puts the music in here now. Is it? Does he? Who knows? Let's do this thing. Ladies and gentlemen, one of the founders, creators, teachers, instructors from Alchemy 365, formerly out of Minneapolis, now out of Denver, Colorado, Tyler Quin. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Wadcast podcast. I am doing the show from the Bingle Bus, weirdly. It's out parked in my driveway, and I'm hiding from the family. So this is the only place I can go get some peace and quiet and try to record the show without 2 children trying to destroy my life. So I am here. Our guest today, one of the owners, founders, creators. Is that true? Am I
like all 3 titles. Sound good to me.
The wizard behind the curtain. What are you? We're talking about one of my favorite places in the world, Alchemy 365, which I had the pleasure of going to when I was in Minneapolis. But you're in Denver, correct?
Yeah, I'm based in Denver. Spent 15 years in Minneapolis. Was there at the beginning, but we moved out here about 2 years ago, and we expanded out into Colorado.
So is Denver the headquarters now?
No, Minneapolis is most definitely the headquarters. I think the idea was for our company expanding was exciting, but we wanted to have at least one founder who could be present, be on site, touch what we've never expanded into a new market. This is our first adventure into a new space where we're not completely on top of our studios. So it made sense. It made logical sense to move at least one. And originally we moved 2 of our founders out here, and I just ended up being the lucky one who got to stay.
So how many founders are there?
There are 5 of us. There are 5 original founders of the company. 3 of us who had been partners long before Alchemy even was an idea in our CrossFit business, right? Mike Jones, Andrea Jones, and myself, we had been business partners for 6 or 7 years by the time Alchemy even started with our CrossFit business out in Minnesota. And but then we picked up a couple others based on skills and expertise that we were looking to use to fill in the gaps in our own knowledge and our own abilities.
So you had how many CrossFit gyms in Minneapolis? Didn't you have a bunch of them?
Yeah, so at one point we had 4, which it seems like a bunch. So the interesting story is I started CrossFit Minneapolis in 2009. Solo, didn't know Mike or Andrea at all, and just sort of coincidentally, Mike and Andrea were opening CrossFit St. Paul just across the river. If you're familiar with the Twin Cities, it's 5 miles away. A couple months after I opened Minneapolis, they were opened in St. Paul, and we just became friends because this is 2009 when there aren't that many CrossFit gyms out there. So we just got connected by through networking and getting to know who are my fellow CrossFit affiliate owners out there. And in the end, it was pretty obvious that we really liked each other as a group. We thought, hey, this would be a nice, fun partnership. But also, it just felt like we could build something bigger together. And we went off to launch CrossFit St. Louis Park maybe a year and a half later. and CrossFit Minneapolis Northeast, which was sort of an extension of our downtown Minneapolis location. And yeah, that's where our CrossFit business took us.
Was that now? I showed up at one of them one time with Kenny Kane like years ago, and got my ass kicked.
That's good. That's what's supposed to happen.
I remember I was in Minneapolis working, and it was like dead of winter. There was like 8 feet of snow on the ground. People dying in the streets. They turned Minneapolis into a habit trail. People only go through tunnels. And
that's right.
And Kenny goes, "Come on, we'll go over to my buddy's gym." And the workout was like muscle ups and squats. It was like 20-1 or something. It was like 20 muscle ups, 1 squat, 19 muscle ups. I forget but I think I left crying about halfway through. And Deborah,
we like to. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You like hurting people.
I was just going to say, yeah, we like to. I was going to say, and at the time, we like to be hyper sophisticated about the way we talk about programming and how it's such a science, and we have to walk that fine line. But in retrospect, there are a lot of fun memories looking back on those just diabolical workouts that were just an absolute kick in the ass and really hard to describe them any other way, right? Like those are actually fun memories now when you look back. I mean, I'm not sure if it was the most sophisticated programming model on the planet at the time, but it got a lot of people really fit, and it created a really strong community too.
Sure, but I mean, it's like sports. You look back at all your times like playing any kind of sports. You remember that day the coach was mad at you and he made everybody run until they were throwing up or something like that, and it makes the team bond. And yeah, it might be sadistic, but there's something about that. I mean, that's why we do the shit we do. That's why people do Ironmans. That's why people do crazy races and competitions and things like that. So, I'm critical of CrossFit many times for people getting hurt and stuff, but at the end of the day, we do it to ourselves. So
yeah, that's true. That's very true.
So very true. If anyone's listening doesn't know what I'm talking about with Alchemy 365, it's a kind of revolutionary new group fitness kind of gym space that I had. Who did I have on last time? Mike? Was it Mike?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike was on the show when I was in Minneapolis, and I did a class, and I thought it was awesome. I said, if they had that in LA, that's where I'd belong. And I sincerely mean that, because for me, that's what I need. And it's kind of a combination of yoga and CrossFit. Is that the best explanation? I don't want to bastardize what you guys do.
No, I think we spent the first 3 years trying to figure out like what the right description might sound like to people. But yeah, I think the simplest way for folks to wrap their head around what we do is we sort of took what we felt like were the essential high ROI elements of a CrossFit program, which we obviously were very familiar with. We were running successful CrossFit affiliates. And then we looked at Core Power, and we looked at their Sculpt classes, and we looked at their C1 and C2 classes, which were immensely popular. And we said, what are the cool parts of this? What are the things that even a CrossFitter could get behind out of that business model? And we got rid of the stuff we felt like wasn't high return on investment, and we consolidated the things we did think were high return on investment, and we put it together into a really basic class format where you warm up and build heat with fundamental yoga, nothing crazy, and then you do a high intensity conditioning spurt in the middle, 10 or 20 minutes. So sort of AMRAP style for the CrossFit folks out there. And then we cool down, we restore, we rebuild with some yoga on the back half, which targets and focuses on body parts and joints that, took a beating during the workout. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that it's going to make you as fit as a pure CrossFit programmer, that you're going to go be a world-class Olympic weightlifter. But for a lot of people out there who get 1 hour a day, 4 to 5, maybe 6 days a week to get a good workout in, and then they want to go off and conquer their life, it's a really nice balance. It's fit a nice spot.
So wait, so you're saying like owning a Big Bob and 14 GHD machines is not a good return on investment?
That's an interesting way of putting it. And I don't want. I gotta be careful. I got a lot of friends out there in different worlds. What I'm saying is that for a lot of our customers, spending 2 years to add a kilo to their full snatch wasn't a good use of their time. They had kids,
okay.
they had careers.
I got you. I thought you were saying,
yeah.
Well, I mean, because weirdly, I have a lot of gym owners calling me in these weird days. And I don't know if it's because they're looking at me like, hey, this guy's out of work too. Let's call him. Or they're like, hey, Eddie knows a lot about CrossFits and maybe he's got his, ear to the floor and knows what's happening, what's coming down the pipe, what's going to happen, what's happening to other gyms. But there's a lot of places in real jeopardy right now and having, everybody. I mean, the whole world's in fucking turmoil. But even before this, there's a lot of gyms that spent money improperly, and we're trying to think. And I always blame the CrossFit Games for that. I don't blame the CrossFit Games for hurting CrossFit or any. What I blame it on is if you were looking to make money in this business, building a gym to create top CrossFit Games athletes is not a good way to make money. And
I agree.
having 72 sets of 55-pound dumbbells and 14 GHD machines is not a good investment unless, and I get it. People are like, oh, we all want to do the open. We all want to get ready. We all want to do this. But no one's going to make money then. And you guys have figured out a way to make some money and get some kids there yourself.
I wish I could say that was a child. That was actually my fiance downstairs doing a workout on Zoom with a few people. So is she ruining our podcast?
No, that's even better. In fact, the podcast would probably be better if we go just watch her Zoom workout.
Yeah. Hold on, I'll mute for you for 1 second. Yeah. You keep talking.
Yeah. Oh, this is hilarious. He's giving her a talking to.
And I'm back.
Is she doing an Alchemy 365 workout?
Yeah, so one of the things we've been doing is having our she actually works at the company as well. Right. So our staff gets together with our members and we are trying to continue with that community. I mean, we talk about this all the time. You can go work out a lot of different places. You can go exercise, what people are probably missing more than anything else right now is doing it with the people they love.
Sure.
Right. It's that weird knife edge where the word community is such a cliche, but it's so real when it's done right, and people miss it. And it's one of the few places in life where people are getting that meaningful, sincere human connection, and then it's just been ripped away from people. So we're trying to do stuff like that. But I'm sorry, I took us off topic. We were talking about making money in the industry. Well,
and just to go on that before we get to the making money, the community thing is weird because of what's gone on with the coronavirus. I have been thrown into more communities than I ever have. Like at this point, where my high school buddies and I are texting all day long and on this like group chat, and then we do like Zoom meetups, and then my lifeguard buddies that I used to be, and before this I was like, I never talked to you guys. And now I've got these like groups of friends, my comedian friends, my gym friends, and it's weird because people can't get together. We're all getting together online, and I keep telling my wife, I'm like, I can't wait till things go back to normal and I don't have to talk to my friends so much.
There are so many things about this there are so many bizarre outcomes of this situation. I agree. There are people that I'm talking to more today than I did ever before COVID came and swept across our planet. I mean, it's really weird. And I am trying to look at those bright sides and trying to be like, all right, what parts of this situation do I actually want to capture and carry with me going forward? Because there's some really brilliant, wonderful things going on out there as a result of something terrible happening.
Oh yeah.
And so I mean, you gotta try to be positive, find those good things, carry them on.
I found a creek, or we have a creek that goes through our backyard. We found a water hole, like an 8-foot deep water hole in the creek.
Nice.
yesterday that we can swim in. It's like you can dive in this thing. There's waterfalls. Like I wouldn't have found that because I would have been down at the beach. It's gorgeous. It's like it's incredible, and there are a ton of things. One of the things I've found is that this gym thing is, and it's, I know you're doing it, and a lot of gyms are doing it, and if you're not doing it, you're insane. But that kind of online coaching, where you're coaching and doing it in a group, it to me, it looks like it works. You've got a coach watching you probably more than they ever did. Mm-hmm. And they're able to correct things you're doing wrong, fix things. You have a one-to-one relationship with them then online. You can talk to them. And I don't see how every gym's not doing it and keeping their memberships up.
Well, there's two really interesting realizations that we've had at Alchemy. So the first one was, if we had rolled out a digital offering 2 months ago, it would have fallen completely on deaf ears because our customer wasn't interested in it. Mm-hmm. Okay. So instantaneously, all of your customers become interested in an online offering, a digital offering, because they have no other option. So that's a powerful opportunity if you're an entrepreneur. And the second thing is, you are working out all the kinks in an incredibly forgiving environment. Mm-hmm. Your members understand that you don't know what you're doing. You're not a tech company. You're a brick and mortar establishment, and you're trying really hard to pivot to continue to bring value and service to them. And because of that, they're appreciative. It's like a free play in football. You get the opportunity to like test and experiment and get feedback without the risk of people getting really pissed off because their expectations are so high. And if you're not taking advantage of this opportunity to at least explore what might happen, I agree. I think you're missing the boat completely.
I don't use a trainer. I'm all over the place, and I have a home gym, so I work out. And watching all this, I'm like, why don't I hire someone to just go online with me? That way they don't have to drive. I live in the middle of nowhere. It takes an hour to get to me from LA. Like, they don't have to drive to me, take an hour out of their time. They could just sit and go, and I'm going to go, hey, I'm going to work on this today, or I'm going to work on this. Can you watch me? Can you watch me? We'll do it like through FaceTime like this, and you can correct what looks wrong. And I know it's not perfect because you're not there, but they can say, hey, and you can go over things. You're right there. Hey, I ate this today, and da-da-da. Okay, we'll get off that and get on this, and da-da-da. Looks like you got your PR up, so let's and it's right there. It's like a virtual coaching. It seems to me for a lot of people, it seems like a better option now.
Yeah, no, I think there are some really, really cool things happening as a result of this, and that has to be one of them. And I mean, I can tell you that we pivoted pretty quickly. We brought our services online. So we're doing live classes. So we're doing live classes through Instagram, and we're pre-recording classes day by day and getting them up in the on-demand library on YouTube. It's all free. And we've got so many people are saying, hey, please don't get rid of this when we go back to normal. We really like this, because on those days where my schedule's a little crazy, I just can't get in, can I continue to take advantage of this? And it's like, wow, man, it's no different than the impetus that caused Alchemy. It was just a natural response to what we were seeing. And it seems like this digital stuff is also kind of a natural response to people who are busy, people who have kids, people who don't have access to your facility every single day, people who why wouldn't you continue to at least minimum viable product, right? Just enough to keep people satisfied and happy, right? I mean, I think.
Well, yoga's always been something where people do yoga online a lot. I know my wife does it, where she'll just go out into our gym and turn it on or out on her deck and watch someone on the computer and do their yoga program. So I understand that, but what are you doing with a lot of your movements require equipment. Like I know you guys have a special piece, that torpedo thing that's like it's like the double-ended dildo of kettlebells.
I couldn't describe it better, actually. So I will tell you one of the great things about the Alchemy class format, which we have been very fortunate, and I wish I could tell you it was strategic. It wasn't. It's very portable, right? I mean, our class format, yoga, as you just said, is incredibly portable. Do it anywhere. And then, yes, we use a primary piece of equipment that we created and patented called the torpedo. For folks who don't, you can look it up online. But for folks who will never do that, it's basically if you took a dumbbell and put handles on the outer ends of it, you can hold those outer ends and do movements that are similar to a barbell style movement. You can hold the center handle like a dumbbell. You can swing it like a kettlebell, all into a single apparatus. And I always say, if you're a kettlebell person or a barbell person or a dumbbell person, you're probably going to hate it. But if you've never been exposed to those things a lot, you probably are going to love it. And because we lean in most heavily on on that piece of equipment, we rented out torpedoes. We just gave them out to all of our members. We were already selling torpedoes direct to consumers, so we had a big warehouse full of them. So as people started to catch on, hey, this Alchemy Anywhere, this online offering is pretty cool, we sold out of all of our torpedoes. And
I was just going to say I was going to order one for my wife.
There are a few select weights, like they're still in stock, but all the primo weights went. We've got a new shipment coming in, but the point is our product is very portable. So I'm writing the workouts now in a way that allows you, in the privacy of your own home, in a little, 4 foot by 6 foot space, 4 foot by 8 foot space. If you have a torpedo, you can follow our program. We're not tethered to a treadmill. We're not tethered to a barbell, which is, somewhat unwieldy, and you couldn't bring it in your living room. And that's been a big upside for us, for sure.
Do you guys know Eat the 80? If you don't know Eat the 80, you are, you're at a loss. Your life sucks, because I know Eat the 80 and it's changed my life. And I truly mean that, because it's the most delicious, ready-made meals that there are. It's incredible. Primary selling point, let's go with taste, all right? Maybe. I mean, I'm always going for health, so I'm always finding I know tons and tons of healthy food. But this one, best tasting one, and I swear by that. If you're getting a meal subscription, you're not going to beat them. I don't care who you are. Maybe you have a different taste than I. It's delicious. It's so good. It's all gluten-free, 100%. And I just realized gluten doesn't do well. I had a piece of bread the other day that was like regular bread, and I had a beer, and I was like, oh my God, I think I'm dying. They've got Whole30 options. They got vegetarian. They got keto. They got macro balanced. Takes like 3 minutes to heat up in the microwave. All the animal protein in it. It's ethically sourced. It's everything. It checks all the boxes. Their kitchen, how about this? They got the cleanest kitchen you could have. It's all regulated at local, state, federal levels, and they go beyond safety standards, especially during this pandemic, COVID-19 shit that's going on. Everything is vacuum sealed for freshness, and the staff use protective equipment when they're boxing and shipping the meals. Okay? Anyways, you're heating up your food. You don't have to worry about it. If your food is heated up high enough and your boxes, they say it can only last on a box 20. Open up your box. Here's what I do. You open the box. You dump everything out. Then you throw the box away. Then you go wash your hands. By the time the stuff inside, it's fine. And you can put it in your refrigerator. Then when you cook it, you're not going to get anything. Don't guarantee this, but I mean, because I don't need you like coming after me with a lawsuit because you're on a ventilator. But hey, it's look, it's delicious. It's the best way. It's rather than going out and getting takeaway food or shit food or having to go to the grocery store all the time. Here's the best. They got a partner program for trainers and gym owners. And right now, trainers, you need to do this. You need to keep in touch with your clients, and this is one of the best things you can do. You get your clients using this. When trainers get their clients to purchase it, if you do it through them, you get credit, 10% reward, okay? So you're going to get credit towards free food. And you just need to register. Go to info@eatthea80.com. And I swear to you, just try this once, and everyone's going to go, you weren't kidding. It is so, it's incredible. And I've tried probably 8 different ones by now. So here's the deal. They set up a special coupon code for all of you Wadcast listeners. Okay? And you want to sign up. You're going to get 2 orders, $20 off the first 2. Okay, so that's 40 total. You get $40 off your first 2 orders. How's that for you? That's a really, really good deal. I want you to try it, and I feel like if you try it, you're going to thank me and really, really, really like this. That's Eat the 80, and it's the number 80.com, eatthea80.com. Use the code WAD40 in the coupon code. You're going to get $40 off. Eat the 80. Eat the 80. Eat the 80. Okay, I got to get back to the show. Where do you sell the torpedo? Is it on Alchemy's site? Or do you have to, can you get it off Amazon or anything?
Yeah, so we have, so Torpedo was being sold on Amazon. We have an online store as well, so through our website. And then we were selling them just out of the studio. So our customer, our brick and mortar, in real life customers could come in and buy one as well. But yeah, we zipped through them really, really quickly. I mean, it's been sort of amazing. I'm excited for things to normalize a little bit so that we can decompress and look back on this, because we added like 6,000 Instagram followers in like 3 weeks.
Wow.
To people who were like, I think they just heard about it and realized they could do our workouts at home. And then, torpedoes were just like, they were just zipping off the shelf. And that was pretty cool. Pretty damn cool.
So you do offer, for people that aren't members of the Alchemy Gym at home, you offer, like people can just sign up and do your digitized or your virtual class, correct?
Yeah, so we took a kind of an interesting approach, to be completely honest. We took a little bit of a risky approach, but I'm proud of what we did, which is we decided not to throw all of our online offerings behind a paywall. We provided free content. We provided as much value as we could. So our classes are live streamed. We've got 6 classes a day live streamed right now on Instagram. They're all free. We've got our on-demand classes, which are up on our YouTube channel, and they're all free. And basically the way we've leveraged our community is we've asked our members who are able and willing to continue to stay with us on their membership, under the understanding that we will take care of them the right way when things normalize, when we come back to normal. And that has been a nice balance. And I think it's been cool because by offering free content, there's zero barrier to entry, and that's probably why we've had as much sort of uptick and upswell in engagement as we've had.
And Minneapolis is not one of those southern states that said gyms could open back up like Georgia.
No, we're still closed. Colorado, the shelter-in-place order is
Colorado too.
It was allegedly lifting at the end of this week. Minnesota, as of right now, is saying May 4th. But frankly, we had a long discussion this morning as a leadership team. Not just about how do we reopen, how do we get back to normal. It's also about what role do businesses like ours play in the conversation around sort of like the greater good, because just because our brilliant genius politicians say it's okay to reopen, it doesn't mean like the coronavirus is like taking a break, right? So we know it's still out there. We all need to participate in at least this is my philosophy. We need to participate in doing the right thing for the communities that we love and care about. And so despite the shelter-in-place order getting lifted, we need to have a hard conversation around what the right timeline is and how it looks and how do we keep people safe to the best of our ability.
Yeah, I saw I got an email from I guess I'd been to the gym once, downtown Atlanta, CrossFit or something, and he was saying, look, they've opened, but we're not. Like, just because the governor says it's okay we don't think it's safe, and we're not going to open. And I've learned one thing. I live in a really fire-prone area, and we've got lots and lots of fires here. And there's a saying we have here up in the mountains where the fires are, yo-yo, you're on your own. And when the shit hits the fan and everything goes crazy, you're really on your own. Like, the government... When I first moved in, everybody's like, oh, they come knock on your door and they tell you to evacuate when it's time. And when it happened, there was no one knocking on my door. There were a bunch of firemen and policemen and people running around going, what the fuck do we do? Nobody knew what to do. Everybody runs for themselves, doesn't know. And then once... after the initial chaos, everybody starts coming together and creating their own communities and taking care of things themselves. So it's more about like your local kind of tiny community. Like, guys started barricading their roads to keep out looters and standing there with guns, and there were, neighbors helping neighbors cut down trees so they wouldn't catch on fire, or taking food to other neighbors. And it was nothing of the government. I mean, I don't even remember. I remember talking to one policeman who said, "What are you doing here?" And I was like, "I'm going to help somebody get their horse, in a trailer." And I said, "Which way should we go out?" And he goes, "I don't know. I'm not from here. I don't know anything." And I was like, and I said to him, I go, "Dude, you better get out of here if you don't know where you are, because you're going to get caught in a canyon and you're going to die. So get out of here, because we're better off than you are." And I feel like that's the situation we're in. I watched a joke today that's like funny video of this girl doing a press conference, and I guess it's gone viral, where it's like, you're supposed to shelter in place unless you can't, and then you're not supposed to shelter in place. You're supposed to, you're an essential business unless you're non-essential, but if you're non-essential, you're essential if you're non-essential. It's like, we don't know. Nobody knows anything. Every day I hear something. It can go 20 feet. It can go 6 feet. It can go 4 feet. It doesn't exist. It's in the air. It's in your food. It's in your water. It's in your pets give it to you. And I just feel like at this point, we're all fucked. You're either so you do your best you can to fight this thing, and I'm not one of these people going open up and blah 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 by any means. I'm the other way. I'm going, don't listen to these, like listen to the experts and then go an extra level of caution, because they say one thing and then they're wrong, and they're like, "Oh, sorry, millions of people died, our fault."
Yeah, no, it is a really weird situation, because first of all, the science does sort of indicate. Listen to me talk like I know what I'm talking about. But from my limited individual perspective, the science seems to indicate that this thing will continue to happen and move, right? So like open up, close down, open up, whatever. It's out there. It's going to continue to progress. There's probably not a lot you can do to like on a grand scale to stop that from happening. The virus is out there; it's going to move around. But I think sort of fundamentally, the idea that you're getting at, and that I actually certainly agree with, is that sitting back and hoping for the hero to come fix the problem is just not the solution. And in your example of the fires, I mean, get off your ass and you got to make your own decisions. You got to think critically. You got to take care of yours. You got to take care of the people that are around you. And hopefully you have the kind of mindset and the philosophy that says my neighbor is in my circle and my community, and I want to be a part of the greater good. And that's not going to be dictated or come down from on high. It's just not. You can't sit back and relax and rely on that kind of solution, because I just don't think it's going to come that way. And if anything, that trickle down information that we're getting, and I'm not getting into political leanings at all. I'm just saying, just across the board, that trickle down of information is probably going to be more detrimental to your own personal well-being than anything else.
Sure. Again,
it's just me. It's just my personal one guy, but this is just my opinion.
I would agree with that completely. And it's weird. I always vacillate between big government, small government, social safety net, let people take care of themselves. And, people need help. People need assistance. And I get confused on it all. And I like I said, I vacillate back and forth. But one thing I do know is that we can all, the Jordan Peterson always says that, like, you want to help the world, go clean up your room, and, take care of your own house. If everybody were out there going, "Hey, someone's sick in my house, stay home. We're sick." And I know the whole asymptomatic, you don't know and you can't go out there. But if you're staying home and you're taking care of yourselves and you guys are doing everything you can do, it's the one thing that, and I might sound like a moron here, and you tell me if I do, because I don't understand if, let's say you got the virus or you didn't even know you had the virus, but you had it, and then 14 days later of a quarantine, it's pretty much over and out of you, supposedly, and you have the antibodies and you're healthy. If we had not just as a globe completely shut down for 14 days, wouldn't the thing have extinguished itself?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, we were talking about that a lot in our household. My fiance and I were sort of saying that it's just not a reality. I mean, no, it's not moronic. I think based on what we're all hearing, that seems to make sense, and it's like there's the logic, but But now then you toss in that human element. We love to think of ourselves as like advanced beings, but when it comes down to it, like, you know, nature has its perfect equilibrium, and we exist outside of the natural state now, and that's why stuff like this happens, and that's why you know, I don't know. We could go on and on.
That was my one confusing part about it. My other one was, we're spending trillions and trillions of dollars on stimulus, on giving people money to keep them going. What if, just hypothetically, I'm just going to throw it out there, what if, like, one of the companies that was advertising on the show is a company called Elysian that did these home testing, like for, you know, check your nutrition, check all your balance, everything, your nutrients, your micros, whatever was going on, vitamin, I don't know. It's a good company though. They had a test that they developed for COVID, and it was an at-home test, and it was like $139, and the government scooped it up. They were like, whoa, we need this for healthcare professionals. So they bought them all up from them. But they developed that. They had that. Mm-hmm. I don't know how much it cost per test to develop. They were selling it for $139. They're giving every American $1,200. How about just give every American a test? I don't understand. And they're like, well, then it takes money to process the test. More than $1,200? You know, and you're going to do it again and again and again, and who knows how many times. Couldn't you have just bought the tests? I don't understand it. And I know there's someone out there that's listening to this is going to write me a long, heated email telling me how much of a moron I am. But please do it. I'd love to know.
Yeah, no, there are a lot of open questions that are very strange, and I think they're probably muddled by human stupidity, as with many things in life. And I'll tell you, you just said, and they're giving you $1,200. One of the things that I keep coming back to, I had somebody, you know, tag me in a Instagram post or whatever, and they said, hey, you know, I got my $1,200, and I'm, you know, I really appreciate the government getting these out to us. And I had to remind them, I was like, hey, they didn't give you that money. That's your money. The government is funded by your money. I mean, just to be clear, you went out, you worked a job, you earned your money, you sent a big chunk of it into a institution, and that government has a purpose. But all they did was they just sent it back to you.
They gave
so like don't thank them. Thank yourself. Thank the citizens to your right and left who are out there paying taxes.
Yeah, after they made a fortune on it too.
Right.
And also,
just to be clear.
And also, people don't realize, because I have a lot of friends who go, yeah, I don't even pay taxes. You know, I get so many write-offs, or I don't make enough money. I'm like, you pay taxes. Everything you buy, every single thing you purchase, there's a tax in it that is going to the government. And and the money you're spending is buying things. The government's using your money to build weapons that they sell to other countries. They're making money on your money. Trust me, it's a giant business. And so for them to give you your $1,200, they're not the benevolent government that they seem to be. And I love Trump putting his name on the checks. That's the funniest part.
Yeah. Yep.
So Denver is, how many locations do you have there right now?
2. So we've got two in Colorado. We've got 5 back in the Twin Cities, and you know, we had plans to continue our expansion. You know, we were looking at more Colorado spaces, but obviously things are a little bit on hold right now. Although I'll be honest, we are a very aggressive company. We're an aggressive leadership team, and the mindset is still very much that we're gonna accelerate out of this. We're not going to. You know, we're gonna take our beating just like everybody else. We're all dealing with it, but we're gonna figure out a way to come through this and get back on track as a company.
I've read a lot about recessions. Yeah, I dealt with the one as we all did in 2007, 2008. I think this is going to be a lot worse, maybe a steeper curve. But one thing they say is it's a time. A lot of people think, well, how do I survive this? When they should be thinking, what do I do for the next 10 years? What's my 10-year plan at this point? Instead of, how do I get out of this hole, or how do I escape this, or how do I survive? Think, how do you build something that 10 years from now is going to exist? And so really just work on the quality of your product and what you're doing, and it will survive it. Instead of, you know, because I've had to think about that with stand-up, because they're saying we might not be doing stand-up comedy till 2021. And it's like, well, what do I do? That's my income. And I just had a company contact me yesterday, and they're like, "Hey, will you do a stand-up kind of thing with our clients for a show online?" And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" I'm not doing anything else. And I was like, maybe this will grow into something for me. So I think this is the time, like you said, to be aggressive, to think long term, and I think when I first talked to Mike about it when I was there, I saw this thing, what you have, just growing incredibly all over the country. And I know you guys don't franchise, but I wish you did.
Yeah, we've kicked the idea around, but I mean, I'll tell you. So you just talked about 10-year plan, and then earlier you talked about how there are going to be a lot of small businesses that struggle, and maybe even some that don't feel like coming back from this, whether they are obligated to shut down or they just say, hey, this was the final, kick in the teeth that I'm just throwing my hands up. And I think that there may be opportunities for some acquisitions for Alchemy. And again, thinking opportunistically, if you're let me use a CrossFit affiliate. If you're a CrossFit affiliate owner and you're struggling, and it's not you've been open for 5-6 years, and you realize that maybe you've reached a little bit of a ceiling, and then something like COVID or coronavirus comes and really puts you in the pain cave. If all of a sudden you could kind of pivot and transform your space into something like an Alchemy, and I'm just using this as an example, and you could continue to do the work you love to do in a slightly different, maybe it's a slightly different setting, that might be an opportunity that a lot of small business owners would pounce on, especially if, the liabilities of your 10-year lease or whatever was taken over and taken off your hands. I mean, so I think as a business, we're also trying to reach out to other small businesses that may be looking for some sort of pivot opportunity, because I think it's there. And you mentioned franchising. It's not exactly franchising, but it's sort of like a licensing or a partnership. Yeah, exactly. And so we're kind of playing with that idea and kicking it around, because I think it's an interesting time where that presents itself as a real opportunity. Yeah,
I just think it's such a great concept. And I talked about it when I did it. I felt like I got a great workout, and I felt good. I felt like I didn't feel like I was destroyed for the rest of the day. I didn't feel like I didn't wake up the next day, and at my age, there's a lot of overtraining and there's a lot of fatigue, and have to be really careful. And I didn't feel like I had to be careful. I felt like it was programmed. Okay, this is great. I'm totally capable of handling this. I'm not gonna make the CrossFit Games. No way. I might not be able to go out and do the Ironman after this, but I do feel fit, flexible. I mean, probably healthier. Then I just need to interrupt for a second. The screen just froze on you, looking like you're so stoned right now. It's hilarious.
Welcome to Colorado.
Yeah. But it's a great workout for. I need to get my wife to do it, because my wife only does yoga, and I'm like, you need to do more high intensity shit. You need to do more high intensity. You need to do strength work. You need the combination. And this is really one of the only things I've seen that does all of it and focuses on flexibility and stability and stuff like that more. I mean, not saying that CrossFit gyms don't do that. And I know a lot of them use ROMWOD or use whatever at the end of class or at the beginning with the workout, but not enough, especially not for, if you've got 20-year-olds and your whole gym's 20-year, yeah, go ahead, go do 5x5s all day long or Murph,
right.
But if you're, you've got a whole spectrum of people, you better
mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. So
two things. So first of all, tell your wife and anybody who's listening who's like, yeah, I'm interested, I'll give it a try. We do a bodyweight Wednesday. So every Wednesday, all of our live stream classes include no equipment. So if you have any interest in tuning in and wanting to try it for the first time and see what the format is kind of like, hit us up on a Wednesday because we're going to do that for the duration of being closed. But yeah, it's interesting. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this in a second, but CrossFit obviously was Forging Elite Fitness for a long time, transitioned, I believe, to Forging Elite Health, right? Kind of took an interesting sort of change in direction. And on that same note, when you ask Alchemy sort of why do you exist? What business are you in? We would say that we help people feel alive. and feeling alive. You know, people who I've been on a few podcasts, and I say this all the time, so it's probably redundant if you've ever heard me talk about alchemy before, but feeling alive might have something to do with getting your first pull-up. It might have something to do with losing 5 pounds, or, you know, getting that back squat up, or whatever. It might very well be related directly to your exercise. But feeling alive might have something to do with how you feel in a space. Feeling alive might be what it's like to wrestle with your children when you go home at the end of a workday. Feeling alive might be having a bad day at work and then walking into one of our studios and having our front desk person know your name and take care of you and treat you well. My brother, who's got 3 little girls, and he used to say that his favorite part, the moment where he felt most alive at an alchemy class, was when he would lock the door on our showers, right? Because he would like go stand in there under the scalding hot water for like 30 minutes and just take like quiet time for himself. For him, that was the value of alchemy. And so you're right. I don't intend to take our average alchemist and send him out to the CrossFit Games. What I intend to do, you know, if you're here in Colorado, is I intend to have you take an alchemy class and then send you up to the slopes and have a kick-ass day skiing downhill, no injuries, feeling awesome, legs are underneath you all day long. What I expect is for you to be able to go hike and ride your bike, go out on the lake and water ski if you're back in Minnesota. That is what we're in the business of. Yeah. And if you frame your mind that way, you don't see it as a deficit in the programming. You see it as it's an addition, you know? So anyway, I babble in here, but that's the idea.
Well, I've babbled that for years as I got older and just started getting injured more and more and more from CrossFit. My complaint with it, was, you know, the CrossFit has gone out there and done everything they can to say, hey, you know, done correctly, you're not going to get, and I agree with everything they say, and you can get injured doing any sport. I agree with them. I agree with all of that. I'm just saying, I know my own body, and I know what I can and can't do at this point, and I know of the overuse that I'm going to get, and probably, do I have some improper range of motion? Do I have Yeah, I do. And do coaches fix that? Yes and no. Sometimes not. I'm not. And so, do I experience injuries? Yeah. Would I experience as much doing something like alchemy? No. And I'd also be focusing on, like I said, as you get older, the flexibility and stability is a lot more important. Strength is still important, but it's just, I never focused on that aspect of it, and so I need that in my life. I always tell people about this. I'd go do CrossFit, and I was in pretty good CrossFit shape, and then I'd go surfing with my surf buddies, and they would all paddle circles around me. Mm-hmm. And I was always going like, how's this dude who smokes in the parking lot out paddling me and catching these waves, and I can't catch them? And it was always because my shoulders were just so sore. And when I stopped doing CrossFit as much, all of a sudden I could out surf these guys. And I was like, oh, I see. I was just beating the shit out of my body to the point where it wasn't able to, like, I couldn't live. So, you know, it goes back to what you say. So I get it. I'm a believer. I'm hopping on your religious boat. You guys, I just think you need to expand all over the country. I need this brand to grow. So I need one right down here in Malibu.
We're working on it. Yeah, I always used to say that I was at my fittest when I was CrossFitting a little bit more frequently, or when I was, back in the day. I used to say I was at my fittest and I looked my best like 10 days, like after, like if I went on vacation and I kind of vegged out a little bit, it was like at the end of vacation is when I felt my best and was at my fittest, because like it was sort of my opportunity to lick my wounds a little bit.
Oh yeah.
And it was always ironic. It was never at the peak of my training that I was like, really rocking and rolling. It was always like, yeah, it was a period of time after where, things would kind of loosen back up and I would chill out and I'd be like, wow, like this feels great.
It's the taper.
Yeah, absolutely. I
did a 68-mile run with Hunter McIntyre, and he was helping me with like my programming. And so for the last month I was worried. I kept getting nervous. I'm like, I haven't done enough mileage. I haven't done enough. He's like, don't do anything. And I go, no, I haven't. Like, I need to get in like at least a 40-miler before I do. And he goes, don't do anything. He goes, get out there that day. He goes, you've done your training. He goes, it's too late. He's like, this time, he goes, let your whole body repair. Be like 100% that day. And I was so worried about just, oh no. And he was right. He was right. I think a lot of other guys trained too much and, collapsed that day. But
and I will say, I do want to add one thing though to this conversation, which is if we go back to our poetic waxing momentarily about coronavirus, and I said, hey, there's this logical idea. If we all just locked up for 14 days, it goes away. But you toss in human stupidity and human nature, and it becomes it's not real. It can't happen that way. I think that because I still have a lot of friends who are in the CrossFit world, and I still do some CrossFit, and I still my CrossFit affiliates that I started are still up and running, and their communities are strong. I think the fundamental science and the idea behind a lot of what's going on there is still it's completely sound. And you said, you can get injured in any sport, and you walk the line between technique and intensity and margins of experience and all that good stuff. I actually buy it. I actually think it's still real. It's when you toss in human stupidity and human attitudes and emotion that we start to distort that information and we ruin it. And so I do think there is a way for great affiliates to bridge the gap. It just might mean a complete facelift. It might mean losing customers. It might mean redefining who you are and what you stand for. But there is a way to blend it all. And so I don't want to paint this like this picture where there's nothing good anymore happening in that world, because
no. I sometimes do that, and I don't mean to. I've just always been on that side of the argument. Sure. I've always been the one going, hey, from day one of the show, the joke was calm down. Like we said, we were going to wear T-shirts to the gym that just said calm down. Like, you're not going to the Olympics. You're not like John Wellborn used to say, like, you go to a party, eat a piece of cake. Don't be a weirdo. And I get anybody that wants to accomplish, you want to be Matt Frazier, you have to be extreme. You got to watch your diet. You got to work out 3 times a day. You've got to live it every moment of your life. But if you're a guy that's a desk jockey and you're working a computer, calm the fuck down, and look at life. Don't look at, hey, where am I going to be? Because if you're looking narrowly scoped like that, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get hurt. But if you want to look long term, this is what happened to me. Was really good thing happened. I had James Fitzgerald on the show from what do they call that? OPT. And one of the smartest guys I've ever talked to. And he said, where do you see yourself when you're like 90 years old? What do you want to be doing? He's like, do you want to be climbing a mountain? And I go, yeah. I'd love to be like climbing mountains at 90. He goes, okay, well, what you're doing now, is that going to get you there? And I was like, huh? He's like, is the workouts you're doing now going to get you there when you're 90? And I went, no fucking way. And he goes, why not? I go, I'll be crippled by then. And he goes, okay, then let's reverse engineer it. Let's reverse engineer. What do you have to do to get there? And I went, and I totally changed that day, from that day forward, how I started working out. And so looking at people that do yoga that are like, in their 70s or whatever, you see these lanky dudes that drink wheatgrass and fucking, enema, whatever they can find up their ass. They look gross, but also they look very healthy in a way of the flexibility and the movement and everything. When it comes to like, they don't have a lot of muscle on them. They don't have, they have kind of like an empty, if they're vegans or something, they just don't look like they're. Put the combination of doing weight training, metabolic conditioning, and some yoga together, and they'd look perfect. And so I got to stop sucking your dick. I think what you guys are doing is just the shit. I think it's great, and I think it's what, when you hit that point where you're not a competitive athlete, you want to live long and be healthy. There's no other option.
Yeah.
So
no, and and you're talking to a guy who was like, who had the dream for a little while, right? The CrossFit dream. Like I got into it young. It was early. So, the route to getting on a competitive floor was not what it is today. Right. And so I had the dream, and I wanted to compete. And so this was a tough pill for me to swallow, but I think that figuring it out was like an essential inflection point for me personally in my life, and it certainly changed our entire business outlook. And I mean, again, not to keep coming back to this, but this information is out there. I mean, you hear people like Coach Glassman saying, it's not illness, it's decrepitude that puts people in nursing homes. Well, like, let that be the fundamental basis of all of your decision making in your CrossFit gym. You'll probably start doing a lot of things better, right? It's decrepitude, not illness, that puts you in the nursing home. I always loved that quote from Glassman, and because I thought it was so brilliant. If you just think about the world that way, you'll stop beating the shit out of yourself every single day if you can really embed that in your mindset. But I think most people just struggle with that, and they just don't see the long term, like OPT, reverse engineer where you want to be at 90 and start doing those things today. That's really hard for people to do. But hopefully folks who never got exposed to that really extreme intensity level, they can walk into an Alchemy studio, they can go, wow, like this is a step up from what I'm used to, but I feel like I can do this for the next 30 years of my life.
Yeah.
That's a happy middle place.
Yeah, and also with with this coronavirus thing, one of the things they've noticed, I mean, you look at all the people that are getting sick. I mean, the majority of people, there are anomalies, but the majority of people that are getting sick and dying, what's the cause? What's the underlying cause? They're at risk. They already have a comorbidity, something like that, and it's health. They have poor health already.
Yep.
And what brought on that poor health? A lot of it is diet, exercise, lifestyle. And so this is the time when everybody should be, this is a wake-up call. Like, get your shit together. I mean, we're preaching to the choir now. Everybody that listens to the show works out. We don't have nobody that's sitting on a couch eating, Twizzlers right now and watching Oprah is going, hey, I want to listen to a CrossFit podcast. So I know I'm preaching to the choir, but the choir's the one that goes out and starts singing to everyone else. So people need to, like, I'm kind of a dick about it, and people give me trouble. They go, oh, you sound like you fat shame, or you this or that. And I go, I don't give a fuck. Like, because, I get yelled at, you want socialized medicine, or you want this, or you want that. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what? I don't want you eating like a fucking pig and then ending up in the hospital and jacking up my health insurance costs because you require stints and to be on statins and constantly going to the hospital for checkups every week. And so just as far as I want to give healthcare to poor people, I think it's shitty, like, that you get away with that. And it's just another perspective of it. So go.
I recently heard an interesting, and I some coronavirus scientist, but he was talking, and again, it wasn't so much the content, it was the idea, and he basically was like, look, I'm kind of done with empathy. I'm done with like this. Oh, that's an interesting. See, you don't believe in the coronavirus. You don't think it's real. Oh, interesting. Like, tell me why. Like that empathetic approach to hearing people out, letting everybody have their opinion. He was sort of like, I'm kind of just done with this because it's a waste of time, and you're just dumb. You're just dumb, and I'm not gonna entertain this conversation anymore. And I think there are a lot of places when you start to talk about the environment, when you start to talk about health and wellness, when you start to talk about these things, empathy can be kind of dangerous if you're not careful, because you start to humor.
But
it's not doing anybody any good.
I get the empathy thing, but and this is kind of different. I listen to a podcast called Left, Right, and Center, and I'd say I lean left, but I really like the conservative guy on there a lot, and I think his name's Rich Lowry. I could be wrong. Anyways, he was saying, people try to stifle these batshit crazy ideas that people are coming out with, conspiracy theorists and blah, 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 calling it conspiracy, going, hey, you need to shut up. We need to stifle we need to put them out and not hear their voices because they're dangerous. And he's like, well, hey, what about the one or two voices back when George Bush and those guys were saying there were weapons of mass destruction in Iraq and nobody wanted to hear it? And the whole world was saying, oh, yeah, Iraq's got weapons of mass destruction. What about those crazy voices out there on the fringe that were saying, hey, they don't have any weapons? He's like, you don't stomp out those voices. They need to be heard out. I get the empathy and the dumb thing because, I just heard the mayor of Las Vegas talk to Anderson Cooper last night, and I was like, can they just send her to an island right now? She just was an idiot. She's like, we need to open the casinos now. And Anderson's like, you want people to sit in a casino with recycled air, and they come from all over the world and congregate there and then go back. And she's like, yeah, we just, a lot of people are out of work here, and we got to get them back to work. Yeah. And he'd go, well, what are you doing to help your city with testing? That's not my job. My job's to get everybody back to work. And it was like, shut her the fuck up. There are some dumb voices. But, everybody was like, in the beginning, they're like, hey, this virus could have been developed in a lab. And there was like, oh, you crazy conspiracy theorists. Now, more and more people are starting to talk about it. Now, I'm not one of these people, oh, the WHO has been hacked and Bill Gates is behind. But I always liked it. No, the little remote part of me likes to entertain those things.
For sure. And I agree. Again, what is freedom of speech and how does that all play in? I agree. There's got to be room for people to posit ideas so that, there has to be. Otherwise we become stagnant as a society, and that's no good for anybody. But there are some things where the idea is just it is wrong. I mean, there are some places, and you're just as stagnant when you have to spin your wheels on something that's already it's not up for debate. It's no longer a discussion, right? And the fact that we continue to have this discussion is just as bad for growth and development and ideation as not having the discussion at all. And so I feel like if we can be thoughtful about what are those things that get categorized as this is real category, it's just there's no debate. We can put it in a box, put the box on the shelf, that's done. And then here are the areas where we can continue to ideate and argue and conspiracy theorize. And I just think if we could be a little bit more thoughtful about separating those things out, it'd probably be good for all of us.
Yeah. Zach Forrest wrote a really good post. Zach from Las Vegas. CrossFit Games guy years ago. Yeah. Zach wrote something right before this happened about we're in really weird times when there's so much information, but also so much misinformation. So we're at the point where it's dangerous. All this information's dangerous because you have access to it, but what is real? And he said, I think there's going to be some kind of revolution, some kind of implosion. And then this happened. And I was like, I think this is kind of on the lines of it because we are experiencing more misinformation than I can't believe how there are sides to this. Yeah, where people they're the people that are like, we're all going to die. We need to live in a bubble for the rest of our lives. And then there are people who are like, this is all fake. No one's dying. It's a governmental, it's been propped up. And it's like, well, who's propping it? Oh, the liberals are doing it to get Trump out of office. Yeah, everybody wants to just go broke. And that's what we're willing to risk to get rid of our orange puffy faced reality star. Yeah, I'll destroy my whole family for that. Yeah.
But where does it come from? It comes from human nature and people just being stupid and weak and fearful and incapable of their own critical thinking, and that's where all of that comes from. It's like, what? It's like, holy shit, something's happening that I don't understand. What can I latch onto? Where's my life vest? What do I grab onto? And if I just grab onto it and I hold it so tight to me, I'll be safe. I'll be okay. And I'll grab onto whatever the first thing I can grab onto is, rather than like, have I tried swimming yet?
Yeah.
And have I tried like treading water and looking around and figuring out but people don't do that. And that's where this is. I don't know. It's just.
I think though it is because it's like a silent enemy, and it's like this thing like you don't know if you have it. Do you have it? There's a false positive on your test, a false negative on your test. Did you give it to anyone who has it? Oh, you can't get sick. You're young. Oh no, you're dying. And there's so much uncertainty that it's so fucking scary. Because on one end, you're like, that is all. I feel, I empathize with both sides because I do feel that this is all bullshit. And then one night I'll go to sleep feeling like, this is crazy. No one's died. And then the next day I wake up, I watch the news, I'm like, we're all going to die. And I'll tell my wife, I'm like, Clorox everything. Let's pour it all over the house. And then by the end of the day, I'm like, I think we're going to live. I think we're going to be fine. I think everybody's going to be fine. And it's just this kind of going back and forth it's fucking weird. It's weird.
It is weird, and I don't claim it's easy to sit here on the show and chat with you, and it feels cut and dry in our discussion. And it is scary, and it is intense, and there are a lot of people hurting and freaked out there. I think where you can we're humans, our brains have developed to be able to do certain things. Let's use them. Yeah, that's all. Let's just, it's like you said, calm down, right? Like. Yeah. It's not calm down when you're standing in a burning room. I'm not telling you to just like relax and you'll be okay. I'm just saying think, consider, use logic, try not to get duped and sucked into one way or the other just based on previous predisposition or previous leanings, and that usually is what elevates me to a happier place in spite of the fact that something very real is happening. And that's all I guess I'm trying to get at, and I'm trying to work on personally in my own life day to day. And I don't know if it'll help anybody, but
I think what you guys are doing, I've told you enough times now, I think what you're doing is great. I'm going to check out, so Wednesdays is the day to do the, what time on Wednesdays do you do the live stream class?
So we've got classes all day. So let's see here. Let me pull it up exactly, cause I want to, I got it. Give me 1 second. So on our live schedule, and I'm speaking in Central time. Okay, so this is from back in Minnesota. So there's a 7 a.m., a 12 noon, a 5 p.m., and those are our A20 classes. We've got a few other things that go on during the day, but those classes. 7 a.m., noon, and 5 p.m.
And you need nothing for this workout. You need
you need nothing.
Just a space to do it.
Just a little space, a good attitude, ready to go, and yeah, just so people understand what they're tuning in for. We warm up with yoga. It's a 20-minute workout, so that's what makes it an A20 class. It's 20 minutes of conditioning, and similar to a CrossFit affiliate, the programming does change every day. So every day you come back, it's going to be something different. But we just do body weight workouts on our Wednesday classes, and then after the workout is done, we do about 10 minutes of cooling down, stretching, make sure people feel good. There's a little final resting pose at the end of the class, and yeah, you don't need any gear to be able to do that, and it's pretty cool. So and if people do tune in, one of the things we do is we've got an Alchemy 365 Spotify account. If you go subscribe to the account, you just click on the playlist of the coach that day. So, hey, it's Coach Tyler today. So all you got to do is go to the one playlist called Coach Tyler. And what we're doing as a coaching staff is we're updating our playlists. And the only reason that's important is because the playlist sort of follows along the series of the class. So, the first few songs are warm-up style songs, sort of feel good, slow, they're nice and easy going. By the time you get into the workout, the songs are bumping, and then, they cool down on the back end. And so you just play that music, you get the playlist going, follow along the coach on Instagram, and you're good to go.
Okay, so I don't want to confuse anyone. So they're going to watch this on your website or on Instagram?
Instagram. So if they find us on Instagram, Alchemy_365, we go live at those times. Okay. We go live. You just tune into the live workout. We always do a nice little introduction, help go through the workouts, similar to like gathering up at the chalkboard, bust the workout out. And all you need to do, so if you have a computer or a music playing device that you can pull up the playlist, we're not playing any music in our coaching space.
Gotcha.
So you're just going to hear our voice. You're going to hear our voice, and then you can play your music up and down as needed. And that's all that's going on.
Perfect.
So it's a cool thing.
Perfect. Well, I'll be there with my wife on Wednesday. We'll do it Wednesday for sure. I'm excited, and I'm glad you could come on the show. I loved what you guys do, and I hope when this thing's over, I hope you can expand this so that more people get to enjoy it. And if you're in Denver and Minneapolis, check them out. Can't thank you enough, Tyler, for being on the show. Give us one more time the Instagram.
Alchemy_365.
Yeah. So thanks again for doing the show, and thanks for listening to the Wadcast. Check us out every single week here, and go to iTunes and rate, review, comment, do all those things. It helps in the algorithm. And also go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Wadcast if you want to help with the show. Give a little bit, and we give a little bit back to you. You guys can get yourself a Myopucks or a leopard claw. I've been using that leopard claw for my tennis elbow, and it's helping. It's working so much. I never thought I would use one of those things, but they work. So check it out, and thanks for listening.